Hello and welcome back, and today I'm here with an update on Jeremy Clarkson. So today we have learned through Variety that Amazon Prime is parting ways with the TV personality mere weeks after his comments about Meghan were published in the British tabloid The Sun. Sources have told Variety that the streaming service won't be working with Clarkson beyond seasons of the Grand Tour and Clarkson's Farm that have already been commissioned. This means that the Top Gear presenter won't be appearing in any new shows on Prime Video beyond 2024. So the article goes on to say that Prime Video already has a number of shows in the works with Clarkson, which are going to go ahead, but the decision effectively means that Clarkson's Farm will end with Season 3, expected in 2024. It also means that the motoring format, the Grand Tour, one of Prime Video's biggest shows, will also come to an end. Variety understands the series will conclude after 4 more special episodes, the last of which will likely land in late 2024. So we have an update here from Clarkson, where on his Instagram he has once again addressed the column, and he wrote and said, quote, "One of the strangest things I've noticed in recent times is that whenever an MP or a well-known person is asked to apologize for something, no matter how heartfelt or profound that apology may be, it's never enough for the people who called for it in the first place. So I'm going to try and buck the trend this morning with an apology for the things I said in a Sun column recently about Meghan Markle. I really am sorry, all the way from the balls of my feet to the follicles on my head. This is me putting my hands up. It's a mea culpa with bells on. Usually I read what I've written to someone else before filing, but I was home alone on that fateful day and in a hurry. So when I'd finished, I just pressed send. And then when the column appeared the next day, the landmine exploded. It was a slow rumble to start with, and I ignored it. But then the rumble got louder, so I picked up a copy of The Sun to see what all the fuss was about. And the TV presenter went on to add this. We've all been there, I guess, in that precise moment when we suddenly realize we've completely messed up. He went on to say, you are sweaty and cold at the same time, and your head pounds and you feel sick. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Had I really said that? It was horrible." End quote. Jeremy Clarkson went on to say, quote, "I knew what had happened straight away. I'd been thinking of a scene in Game of Thrones, but I'd forgotten to mention this. So it looked like I was actually calling for revolting violence to rain down on Meghan's head. I was very angry with myself because in all those controversial days on Top Gear, when I was accused of all sorts of things, it was very rarely sexism. We never did women can't park gags, for instance, or suggested that powerful cars were only for men, and I was thrilled when Jodie Kidd and Ellen MacArthur set fastest ever laps in our reasonably priced car. I'm just not sexist, and I abhor violence against women, and yet I seemed to be advocating just that." He also went on to say, quote, "I was mortified, and so was everyone else. My phone went mad. Very close friends were furious. Even my own daughter took to Instagram to denounce me. The Sun quickly apologized, and I tried to explain myself. But still, there were calls for me to be sacked and charged with a hate crime. More than 60 MPs demanded action to be taken. ITV, who make Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Amazon, who make The Farm Show and The Grand Tour, were incandescent. I therefore wrote to everyone who works with me saying how sorry I was, and then on Christmas morning I emailed Harry and Meghan in California to apologize to them too. I said I was baffled by what they had been saying on TV, but that the language I'd used in my column was disgraceful and that I was profoundly sorry." Jeremy also added this, quote, "Over the last 30 years, I've written very nearly 5,000 newspaper and magazine columns, so it was inevitable that one day I'd do a Harry Kane and Sky one of the things," which was what happened with the piece about Meghan. So he goes on to say, quote, "So can I move on now? Not sure. It's hard to be interesting and vigilant at the same time. You never hear peals of laughter coming from a health and safety seminar, but I promise you this, I will try. Who knows, very soon now I shall be a grandfather, so in future, maybe I'll just write about that." End quote. So there we have his full statement now. It's been an hour, about the time since it was released, and he has disabled the comment sections on this. So his question is, can he move on now? He is not sure. But he did say, notably, that he did email Prince Harry and Meghan in California to apologize to them as well. As we're seeing all of this unfolding, it does speak to the magnitude of what had actually happened. I know a lot of people tried to brush away Jeremy's comments, saying that he was only referring to a Game of Thrones reference. But for a lot of people who do not watch that show, first of all, his words were just startling. But even those who, do know exactly what he was referencing, it was such an unfair thing to say to her, and medieval was used in reference to his article. And he himself has acknowledged that dozens of MPs called for action. And by the way, also, more than 20,000 complaints were made to IPSO about his column in December. So he knows that the fallout was massive. Now, when we take a step back and consider that he did personally email Prince Harry and Meghan to say that he was sorry. Alright, I'm going to interject here and say this is editing me. I've just gotten the update that, in fact, Jeremy only reached out to Prince Harry, which I will be addressing later on in this video. So just watch along with me and I will address that later on in the video. I have taken some time to think about this because when we consider that there's a statement that more kindness is needed in the world, so if he has apologized, good on him. If Harry and Meghan have received that apology, well and good. I don't personally think I'm one who supports the quote cancel culture. So as I've said, if Meghan and Harry have received that apology, the Duke of Sussex did say that the words were quote hurtful. If in the end they did receive his apology, that is all well and good. But as I've been thinking about all of this and the wave of criticism that happened concerning the article and the Sun's response, as well as Jeremy's second response, I've been trying to think about this whole culture surrounding the hatred of especially Meghan, and how profitable it is for some to basically steer themselves to print and to produce anything that is negative against her. So let's think back to the Sun's apology, in quotes, as they took the article down, because it became the most complained about article in the history of UK's IPSO, that is the Independent Press Standards Organization. They said this, quote, "Columnists' opinions are their own, but as a publisher, we realize that with free expression comes responsibility. They said, we at The Sun regret the publication of this article and we are sincerely sorry. The article has been removed from our website and archives," end quote. So that was their apology. In it, there was nothing, I think, offered to Meghan in particular. There was nothing that took accountability for that whole mess, going through all the checkpoints and everyone okaying it. I'm actually looking at their response, and in it, they do say that they were sincerely sorry. I guess to who? That's up to you. And they talked about how they were proud of their history for campaigning for charities and and how they spoke on legislation that was, for people who had gone through, physical harm and survivors and on. But they did not say personal apology to Meghan. So that response makes you wonder, doesn't it? And Jeremy, we remember the first time that he felt the wave of criticism. He said, "Oh dear, I've rather put my foot in it. In a column I wrote about Meghan, I made a clumsy reference to a scene in Game of Thrones, and this has gone down badly with a great many people. I am horrified to have caused so much hurt, and I shall be more careful in the future," end quote. But there was no actual apology to Meghan. Now that he says he has reached out to them, it makes me wonder. As I think about the article that he wrote, he said in that article, and I will quote here, and not going into all of the gory details, where he wrote that he hates Meghan on a quote cellular level, and going on to say what he was dreaming of. And this was a very highly objectionable piece on Meghan for sure, but it does stand out to me that in that piece he added a bit later saying, quote, "Everyone who's my age thinks the same way." So I'm wondering, in his apology to Meghan, I'm just trying to think of this because he said he has apologized. Did he apologize for appealing to that crowd who does not like Meghan in the article? So I'm trying to think, is he saying in that apology that he does not actually think that way, but it's kind of trendy to write that in The Sun? Or was he trying to apologize to people who said that it was a blatant appeal to incite violence against Meghan, who is a woman of color? So what was he apologizing for? Does he actually not hate Meghan? I'm just trying to think about that apology. Because he says everyone who's my age thinks the same way. So what has happened? You know, what was the apology? And The Sun newspaper, having received that piece, and it went through all the checkpoints to print. What are they apologizing for? Are they taking it back, retracting the view that they do not like Meghan? Or is it that they are just responding to how people just said no to that piece? As I said before, the Duke of Sussex did address Jeremy Clarkson's comments on Meghan. He called it, quote, horrific, hurtful, and cruel, end quote. And he said that they were proving his point about Meghan. And he also said that it encourages other people around the UK and around the world, men particularly, to go and think that it's acceptable to treat women that way, in quotes. So it was hurtful towards his wife, he said that. And I wonder if Jeremy Clarkson could say those words to Prince Harry's face. I don't think he would. So it makes me wonder. I'm not for cancel culture. If people want to make those amends, they have to go on. And I think it's a point that I heard also Trevor Noah saying when he used to host his show, that when people just cancel them and want people relegated to the outskirts of life, then you are actually gathering that group together, and you can end up actually galvanizing a way worse type of retaliation, in quotes, than if you just try and talk to them and try and figure out why they think that way and try to get their minds out of that place. So for me, I do think The Sun does monetize the hatred of Meghan. It's lucrative for them. I know that many people have defended Jeremy Clarkson, saying that, he was just, he's like that. He's brash. He says things and he is just bombastic. He does, the most outrageous things for engagement. But he himself right now is acknowledging, as he is also seeing the monetary backlash that is now coming in full force against him, that, it wasn't the best thing to do. And it does once again speak to the silence from the palace. Never complain, never explain. Yeah. But we've known that they have many a time complained and explained when it comes to other people there in that family, from the absolute frivolous. So it was interesting, as Harry said, that the silence from them, according to so many, has been deafening. Even if they do have connections with Jeremy Clarkson, there is a way to go about correcting someone who is their friends without having them feel like they're being banished. You know what I'm trying to say? So kindness all round. But once again, Prince Harry, he has said it time and time again. He took his wife out of there because there was a problem with the way the press was treating her in the UK. And I think I have challenged so many of you to this. Do you think any of those words that Jeremy used towards Meghan, whether he claims it was a joke or not or whatever, do you think those same words could ever have been applied to any of the other royal women? I don't think so. There would have been strong condemnation from the palace. All types of chivalry would have just come out of nowhere. But for Meghan, there has been silence. So it is hurtful. And I think on so many levels, for especially how the Duke of Sussex has basically given us that glimpse into his life coming up there as a spare. And yeah, Meghan has been treated very differently, I would say. They proved his point. They did prove his point. But as I've said before, Jeremy, he is now feeling it. Now that he has actually lost his Amazon Prime show. And that is a huge, huge deal for him. That is a way for him to earn a living. And as I said, I'm not rejoicing over that factor. I think people need to sit down, and there does need to be healing and kindness and that honest conversation as to why did he write that? Why does he think that? Why does he lie awake grinding his teeth dreaming of that? And it was a hate article, and he did write it all down and press send. And the publishers there at The Sun, they looked it over and said, this sounds great. And they let it go to print. So it's either that they were all in one accord, because all of them couldn't have been busy. He claims he was busy. What about those who were checking over what he said? And I just think it's a bad look, all in all, for the UK, for their press that say that, they've been very fair and welcoming to Meghan. I don't think so. And just compare all of this with someone in that palace who is taxpayer funded, who does not sweat, who doesn't even get a quarter of the hate or the laying up at night, grinding teeth, waiting for stuff to happen to him. It's all so very weird, isn't it? So let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. So these are my thoughts. Alright, so this just in, as I was working on this video, so this is editing me, we have a new statement from the spokesperson for the Sussexes, and this was their statement. On December 25th, 2022, Mr. Clarkson wrote solely to Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. The contents of his correspondence were marked private and confidential. While a new public apology has been issued today by Mr. Clarkson, what remains to be addressed is his long-standing pattern of writing articles that spread hate, rhetoric, dangerous conspiracy theories, and misogyny. Unless each of his other pieces were also written in a hurry, in quotes as he states, it is clear that this is not an isolated incident shared in haste, but rather a series of articles shared in hate. End quote. So that's the added statement. Now, isn't that an update? He did not write to Meghan, but to Prince Harry. I wonder why. So, to me, that I think is inappropriate. He should have included her as one of the recipients of that letter directly, but only to the Duke of Sussex? Huge question marks. And it's true. It is quite true. It is what I too was asking. What exactly was he apologizing for? There have been numerous other articles that he has indeed written about Meghan, which are so hateful. So this is an update. Now, please share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you all for watching. A special thank you to those who support this channel financially. It does mean so much to me, and I want to give a special shout out to a couple of you who do support this channel. I want to say thank you to you, Patricia Benjamin. Thank you for your love and your giving. Patricia, you are so dear to me. Thank you. Thank you to Henrietta Palmer as well for coming along with me here on this YouTube journey. Your support has truly warmed my heart. And Bernadine Robinson, I value and thank you for your giving and your generosity. I say God bless you. And thank you to Nutty Doctor as well, who has been such a faithful supporter on this channel. Thank you for your love, and thank you for all the times that you've given. Thank you for your super thanks, as well as your continued support for this channel. Thank you. Once again, thank you to all who like, comment, and share. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch my review on Spare, click this link here or the link at the end screen. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. And for those of you who are Star Wars fans, we are also awaiting the Mandalorian trailer. So if you want to come back and watch that reaction video, be on the lookout for those links. Thank you once again all for watching. I love you all. Leave your thoughts on this story below. I would love to know your thoughts. Have a great day wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.